Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. This is Bob. I got a message for you. Yeah, today I want to talk about something that we're all dealing with, all right? Because of this phenomenal, age of communication that we're in, technology replacing technology, replacing technology, replacing technology. It's had an amazing impact on the American mindset and psyche and ability to pay attention. They say the average uh, attention span for the American, and I would say probably the rest of the world too, used to be 30 seconds. Then about, I'd say 15 years ago, it went down to 9 seconds. But now it's at 3 seconds. It might even be less than that. So if you're ever talking to somebody, you gotta kind of like say something interesting every 3 seconds or you're gonna lose them. I know at work, I get into a conversation with somebody at work and I don't even get a chance to say anything that happened because I'm in a kind of weird environment where a lot of times multiple things will happen and I don't even get a chance to say what I want to say, especially if it's over the phone, where we used to have two ways and I'd be able to control the air for an extended period. But if it's over the phone, the other person, can control the conversation or just put you on hold. But they couldn't do that before. So, as a result of this, that is the basic attention span that we have. So it's like a building block we have to learn. And it's interesting because we're all grown up with this powerful medium called television, and don't laugh. I don't want to give the wrong impression. Television's an extremely powerful medium, and it really has a deleterious impact on Americans, their minds, their psyches, how they think they should be, how they think they should look. Obviously, it's not the real world, but don't tell anybody that because that's how they align themselves with, the whatever gets glorified. See, everybody wants to be glorified. Whatever gets glorified on TV, they start to align themselves with the television, values, in my opinion, that are espoused. And then there's all these agendas that are out there on TV, how they want to present certain people. You see it in radio too, where, they'll mess around with the audio of somebody they don't like. But if somebody they like, they soup it up, so you'll love the voice. But TV, they use different measures of doing it to make the person they want look bad. And these are all little games people play, But it's important to know what's happened, and then you can start to deal, with the damage, and try to build a dam to block the flow of information so that you can, regulate it and have analytical frameworks and disciplines to take in information. Reading is an important part, but because we're TV babies, we don't read. But if you can continually, read 3 or 4 books, a month or whatever, however you start slowly, but make sure it's something you're interested in, and you don't have to read every page, you know. But there's other books you want to read every page. I mean, I got like 4 or 5 books right here. You know, I don't even think, you know, I have this book. It's A.W. Pink, Letters from Spartanburg. This is the second time I bought this book, but and then I left it over a friend's house. But it's a bunch of letters that he wrote when he wrote the famous book, Sovereignty of God. And it shows you the thinking behind it and how it was, you know, his first book. And, you know, he's, in my opinion, he's one of the greatest writers who ever lived. Now, I'm just picking these books up. I had no intention to do this, but I just came across this book. Is that in the Bible? And it talks about all these interesting things. This is an old book. It's 1962. But you see in the table of contents, I don't even think we can see this, but you can pause the video if you want. But a lot of cool little things in the table of contents. It's funny though, cats, I guess, are not in the Bible. Dogs are. But cats, you know. And then I got this, of course, I got 2 Bibles here. I got this book, Dr. Mary's Monkeys, and it's about the cancer research projects in New Orleans that were used to come up with a bioweapon. And actually my computer stand, my iPhone stand is 3 or 4 books too. But that's an interesting book. That's one of the most interesting books you'll ever read. It talks about how cancer was, you know, piggybacked onto the polio virus. And for 8 years, 200 million people were contaminated. But they thought they would cure cancer. And there's evidence that it continued up until the 1990s. That's why the cancer rates are so high. You know, this is a great book, too. Kennedy and Oswald. Oswald actually was trying to save Kennedy, and he did save his life in Chicago. And this proof that did occur. This is by Judith Very Baker and Edward Shorts, who just happened to pass away recently. But this gives you the big picture of everything. And I haven't read this book yet, but I want to read this so bad. This is the one book I have read that I couldn't get enough of. This is a fascinating read. This woman, it was a fascinating woman, one of those true American heroes. What she went through. Me and Lee is the name of the book. She's an incredibly talented woman. Had the highest IQ in the state of Florida. You know, became pretty famous in Florida. The senator knew about her, governor. You know, she did all these experiments, traveled across the country, you know, winning prizes, and she gets she was trying to cure cancer, and then it turns out the CIA gets a hold of her, and you know, they tell her, you can save the world if you get rid of Castro with the cancer bioweapon. So she was like, let's do it. But then she found out they were testing it on prisoners, and she was like, you know, that's it, I'm done. And then next thing you know, the guy she was with was Lee Harvey Oswald. He was involved with it too, and then they became very close, and saw each other daily for probably 6 months, right up until Lee was killed. And Lee actually, if you read the book, you know, knows that and relays to her that he will he's the one. He's going to be set up as a patsy. Here's a book I just got. They actually sent me 2 copies of this. JFK, Who, How, and Why. It's color. It's very nice. I haven't had a chance to read that. Here's another one. I had no idea I was going to do this. Sorry the tags here, but what if the Bible had never been written? I've talked about this book in the past. It's by D. James Kennedy. He's written several books. Actually happened to meet him right before he passed away, like 2 years before he died. And that book talks about, you know, without the Bible, there's no civilization. and there's a companion book, What If Jesus Was Never Born? So it's great to read. And, it has a cumulative effect, I find, over time, As a Christian, my values changed in my mid-20s. And I started to, develop interests like I never did before. And, now that I'm older, 25 years later, I'm finding, everything counts. Everything I've read counts, And even though there were some ups and downs and, sometimes more downs than ups, but I always felt God was there, definitely. I mean, I did feel abandoned a few times. I have to be, I have to confide that, but, there's you can build a little library. I had a library of 1,000 books once, but I had to get rid of half of them. But I built a little library up again, and I don't read all the time, but it's amazing what can stay with you when you do read. And I don't, I went 7 years without the television. Now I got cable again about 3 years ago, and then I got rid of it. I just, it was too intrusive and too expensive, $150. And I work, I work a lot. I work between 80 and 90 hours a week, and I wasn't watching it, so I just got rid of it. But the attention span, we need a little bit patience with the information we're getting, and particularly with the Bible. We don't even crack the cover of it, never mind give it 3 seconds. But if you give 3 seconds to Jesus, read John 3:16, that'll take you 3 seconds, and that 3 seconds can last an eternity. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe on him will not perish, but have everlasting life. So you just got to believe. There's another scripture, the work of God is this, believe in the one he has sent. There's another one, come to me all you are weary, I will give you rest. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. These are in the Gospels, Paul comes in, he says, Paul was selected by Jesus to be the tool to reach the rest, and he ended up writing 2/3 of the New Testament. But his greatest, he had made a lot. He's the chief of all sinners, he claims, he says, even though he was a Pharisee of Pharisees. And his conversion is in Acts, but in the book of Acts, which is a great book. But Paul, he testified many times before the authorities, and those are great speeches everybody should read. The speech of Stephen in Acts chapter 7 is must read. When he was done, they killed him, they stoned him to death. Paul was there, and he looks up and he sees Jesus standing in the right hand of the Father. Standing, not sitting, standing. So and he said, into you I commit, Stephen said, unto you I commit my spirit. Those his last words. But Paul's famous words are, we are saved by grace through faith. This is not of ourselves, as a gift of God, so no man would boast. He has he has dozens and dozens. He wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. It's all God breathed. So it's good news. We got great heritage, stuff to discover. Give it 3 seconds a day for the next month. All right. Read Psalm 91 for 3 seconds. Psalm 51 for 3 seconds. Psalm 103 for 3 seconds. Psalm 139 for 3 seconds. So you probably have trouble. I think that's the long, or 119 is the long one, one or the other. Psalm 2, 3 seconds. Verse 4 is a great one. God laughing at man. Psalm 8, That's another great one. Take 3 seconds. I tell you what, that's a challenge. Just take 3 seconds. I bet you'll get something out of it. I guarantee you. You get something. You got 3. This is hilarious. I didn't know this would turn into this. I really didn't. Okay, so that's my message today. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.